Welcome, dear guest, to Odd Tonic's 12 Days of Christmas Ghost Stories. In Victorian England, Christmas was the time to gather around the warm fireplace to share chilling tales of ghostly visitations. Odd Tonic is reclaiming this tradition by presenting ghost stories on every one of the 12 days of Christmas. They make for great personal listening or to share with friends and family as an icebreaker to tell true, unexplained tales of their own.
Welcome to Day 2. Tonight's story was discovered on HuffPost.com's article, 12 Terrifying Ghost Stories You Shouldn't Read Alone. Settle in. This is a story I do not often tell. I promise sincerely that it has scarred me for life, and although I have looked into psychological explanations for what I heard and natural explanations for what occurred, they remain unsatisfactory. When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, and so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I would call them, when telling my mother about them. She figured they were just bumps in the night and typical kids' nightmare material. I tried often to explain to her that they were more than that they sounded different from one another, the way people's voices do. On some nights, I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you looked directly down the stairs that would lead you into my living room on the first floor, as my mother's bedroom was on the second floor. On one such night, around Christmas, I awoke and felt the need to relieve myself. I walked out the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look." And to my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source. It was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, and it being only a few days from Christmas, I knew what this light was. It was Santa. How else could he get into my house to know that I was being a good boy? I was so excited, I began walking down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step, as it began to creep off the wall and fade into the darkness of my living room. That's when I heard him. A very strong, masculine voice, different from the first and from that of my father's. It said, "Stop. Right now. Go back up those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next, I'm not sure I would believe if someone had told me the same story. As I was reaching the top of the stairs, I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the whole night. When we woke the next morning, the poinsettia lights my mother had on the banister down the stairs were pulled straight down to the bottom of the stairs, some broken from what seemed like a forceful tear, lying in a single pile. The dry sink in my living room had fallen from the wall. My mother could not explain it. My father was worried that we had been the victims of a home invasion. My sister was crying. There was nothing missing. Nobody had broken in. There did not seem to be any reason that this had happened. And then I saw it, and I kept quiet about it because I was so afraid that I could not force words out of my mouth. There, on the edge of the wooden dry sink, which had been facing up, there were 3 indentations where the finish on the wood had been worn, almost as if in a forceful grip. Something down there had grabbed it and threw it down. That was what the bang was. I do not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night, and after that day, I never heard a single whisper again, which is sad because in some ways I would have liked to thank the man who had stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was 7. I'm 20 years old now, and because of this incident, I am still afraid of the dark, especially shadowy stairwells.
Has anything like this ever happened to you? Everyone, it seems, has a story. If you're listening as a group, share it now. Or send it to Odd Tonic. We'd love to hear it. You can reach us at theparlor@oddtonicsociety.com. Until then, join us again tomorrow for another thrilling, true tale on Odd Tonic's 12 Days of Christmas Ghost Stories. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube for future Odd Tonic episodes of weird history, strange science, and the paranormal. Good night.